on step to $57,654. Reorg was the actual the same. In 2022, the amount of salary in the budget was $58,519. Okay, the reorg actual was $57,654. In 2023, the budget listed the salary at $58,519. Budget full salary, reorg actual was $57,654. In the 2024 budget, okay, the salary that was listed in there was $48,691. Budget on step to $52,639. Okay, what $52,639 is basically for our clerk typist. It's not the right salary for an assistant to the supervisor.
How did they get changed like that, though, Supervisor?
I
mean, that's a $10,000 drop.
Exactly.
How did they?
But we had 2 increases to adjust it.
We had 2 increases to adjust it. On the reorg, the actual was $55,000, and then the change because of civil service rules, we brought her in at too low based on her previous salary because she hadn't been gone for more than a year, was $55,400. Still nowhere near what the other ones are. So let me move on. Okay. All right. In 2022, we had contract negotiations where we settled in 2023 retro to 2022 at 3% a year. So if you took that salary from 2022 or 2023 at $57,654 at 3% a year in 2025, it would be $64,890. Okay? So we're nowhere near that. What we're asking for is $59,058. And that's $5,832 less than what it would be if this had been done normally. Now, personally, I can't think of any position in the town of Lancaster where anybody is making any less money at this point in time than they did in 2022. So that's why we put that in there at $59,058. What this does also throughout the, and I'm going to pull up some other documentation. It's going to take a moment.
That's my point. I would just like to know why this is being, I've sent so many emails about this. Why is this now being publicized instead of explaining it just like you had to the rest of the board members?
Because at this point in time is when the resolution finally came forward. We had a prior resolution that said we were going to just cut money from the supervisor's wages, not specific to one individual, which I had no problem with whatsoever because we'll deal with that. We have part-timers so we can make up the difference. But now, if the resolution came out, it actually came out, what, Friday? When the final version of it came out. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew. There's also some false information out there in the public where people talked about a 20% increase for the assistant to the supervisor. The numbers I just showed you prove that that didn't happen. There's also information about the director of administration and finance that he got a 10% raise. Again, that did not happen. The reality is they were starting, or the assistant to the super, if you want to come up here and just say a couple of words, I'll use him as an example. He started at 85%.
But he explained in the email to us.
He did.
He broke it down on where those percentages came from,
Okay.
which.
But in addition,
answer.
in addition to the board, I want the public to know. Because there's a lot of misinformation out there, so I think the public has the right to know. So if you could go through what happened in your case.
Yeah, so in my case, the budgeted salary for my position was $78,522. I was hired on step at 85% of my full salary, which was $84,500 roughly. So that $78,000 budget reflects 6 months of my 85% salary and then 6 months at my full salary. So then when we go to budget for the 2025 budget, my salary is listed at $87,000 roughly, which is 3% over where I was hired at. But when you look at last year's budget to next year's budget, it looks like it's a much larger increase and can be deceiving. So that's why Supervisor Leary has pulled up the reorg resolutions as well to kind of show everybody in the public and kind of clear the air over the confusion that happened here.
Okay, let me pull that up. Yeah, go ahead.
For Nick, real quick, so obviously, you know, you probably went through all these numbers with the supervisor, so everything on there, you agree that, you know, the salary was slashed and it's cheaper this way than what it would have actually been had there been a raise every year. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. The salary.
This is all news to me.
Yeah, the salary from 2023 was 58,000 in the budget. That dropped to 48,000, which, as you guys know, that's 52,000 on step. I was shocked when I came across that. I would think that the town board would want to continue to invest in the supervisor's office. These positions are not come-and-go positions. As you've seen, you know, in the last 4 years under the previous administration, when turnover happens and you don't have qualified people and things can get really bad, then you get an OSC report like we had under the previous administration.
So can I ask some questions since we're on this topic?
Sure.
Who was the assistant to the supervisor in 2022?
In
I
2022,
believe that was Lisa Zajac.
Lisa Zajac.
Okay, 2023?
Lisa Zajac.
Lisa Zajac.
Okay, and then we hired
I
somebody
don't think she was
new.
there for the whole year because she went over to the police department. Correct.
Okay, so then we hired Lisa at the beginning of this year at her previous salary.
Correct. Roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now I wanted to just address the potential, like, public's thoughts about the percentage. I think it's because people are looking at the budget and seeing it written out like that, because you have
Yeah.
to show the percentage.
Right.
And people aren't understanding how to read it, just like I reached out to you and you helped explain it to me.
Definitely,
So I
yeah, and
completely
that's,
understood it at that point.
Partially on my fault, I guess, because I had the ethical question of should I list the budgeted salary or what they were actually hired at, but I wasn't going to lie, the 2024 budget is the 2024 budget. Probably could have avoided a lot of the confusion, a lot of the talk around the town, but we're up here now to clear the air.
Right.
So then my last question is, where is the additional 3.6% coming from? So everybody else in the town is getting 3%.
Right.
Pretty much across the board. If you look through this budget, almost every single person is getting 3%.
Yep.
That's my moral dilemma. I'll be honest to the whole town here.
Yeah.
How can we single out one person and give one person an increase if we're not willing to do that for others?
Well, I would
But
say that
that's-
the justification for that is the other members of the town board or town didn't have their salary for their position cut drastically.
But she wasn't in the position, correct?
I-
So like when I hire somebody new, we don't start them where the last person ended off. Like a lot of companies and corporations, business practice is you hire people at a lower rate and then you increase it as time goes on. And then there's merit increases and things like that, which I am a firm believer in. But
I do believe she's been with the town for roughly 15 years prior to that.
She wasn't new. She was not. Can't say.
Paul, can we talk up here, please? Okay. So again, you know, the belief that we've only done 3% when we're supposed to be 3% is just not true. If you look at dog control, what the dog control officer made, they took a huge jump from 2022 up to 2024. Went from about $32,000 up to $45,000. Okay, so again, nobody else in the town has been cut. This is the only, there's two positions that have been cut. Okay, when you talk about the assistant to the supervisor, way back in 2019, it was $60,000. And the other one is the payroll supervisor, which was also $60,000. And additionally, at that time, they got other monies included because they did other things as well. So, you know, but the reality is, if you take a look at, and again, not to single people out, but, you know, what we hired the rec crew chief at was substantially higher than, you know, one person than what the previous person was making, well above 3%. Okay, dog control, again, all the people went up to $21.85. So again, dog control goes up to $45,000. With a highway person who was changed from a mechanic supervisor to like I'm not sure exactly what the term is, you know, that we got several.
Yeah, I believe it was the mechanic crew chief got a $3.50 raise. Went from a mechanic to a mechanic crew chief. Obviously, that comes with additional responsibilities, I would believe.
So again, much more than 3% on several different people here.
But-
Now, all we're trying to do at this point is get her up to a position where she
when I turn it off, so.
How about now? Because the sound meter, the fire's moving on the screen, so it's picking up the audio.
Could be, just on YouTube.
I would just say.
We're still delayed. You haven't sat down yet, Adam.
Oh, yeah.
About now?
Wait, there you go. You're sitting down now. Oh, I got, no,
got it.
yeah. We got sound
Now
now.
we have sound.
Just a little snafu like Netflix the other night.
Oh, we got it. Yeah, Adam, you just sat down.
We're already on the.
We're still delayed. You haven't sat down yet, Adam.
All right, now that you guys can hear us, the meeting's concluded. Thank you. Have a good night.
Oh, I got, no, yeah. We got sound now. We have sound. It's delayed.
Okay.
I already don't like hearing my voice, now we have to hear it
Adam,
again.
you just sat down.
Okay, since I had to utilize my technical skills there, I am going to ask for a slight increase in pay. Okay, where were we?
Number 3.
Number 3, Councilmember Dickman.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, Honorable Town Board. I offer Resolution 3 for adoption. Resolved that the following building permit applications be and are hereby reaffirmed. This meeting, there's a total of 38 building permits, 16 which are in the village, 22 in the town. Now therefore be it resolved that the building permit application coded CSW for conditional sidewalk waiver be and are hereby reaffirmed with the waiver from the town ordinance for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition that the town at any future time and date reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property owner.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Schroeder, number 4, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 4. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has reviewed the 2025 tentative budget, which was presented on October 21st, 2024, and whereas pursuant to New York State Town Law, Section 106, after review of the presented tentative budget by the Town Board, any changes should be memorialized in writing via resolution and approved by a majority vote of the members of the Town Board. And whereas Supervisor Leary and the Town Council members have reviewed the proposed 2025 tentative budget submitted by Nicholas Swanson, Director of Finance and Administration, and is requesting the following change. Page 27, A 7610, Programs for the Aging, line item wages, change the amount to $262,188. Whereas this $3,617 change is facilitated by Nicholas Swanson, Director of Administration and Finance, finding savings in the tax levy to the town's street light district. Now therefore be it resolved that the aforementioned modifications to the 2025 tentative budget be permitted following its or their adoption.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 5. Whereas Carmina Wood Design submitted an application on behalf of Eric Tomaine Frontier Properties LLC for a special use permit for topsoil storage and processing located at 70 Gunville Road, SBL number 83.00-4-3.12 in the town of Lancaster, New York. And whereas Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 400-78, special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires that the town board conduct a public hearing before the issuance of a special use permit for a use as proposed. Now, therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to Section 400-78 of the zoning code of the Town of Lancaster, a public hearing on the proposed special use permit for topsoil storage and processing located at 70 Gunville Road in the Town of Lancaster, New York, will be held at the Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue here in Lancaster on the second day of December at the next town board meeting, 2024 at 7:05 PM local time, and that notice of said time and place of such hearing be published in the official newspaper of general circulation in said town and be posted on the town bulletin board, and that a copy of such notice of hearing be referred to the Erie County Department of Planning pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof. Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 6, whereas a water line installed as part of the Brickyard Ball Field improvements crosses a National Fuel right-of-way, and whereas the town of Lancaster received permission from National Fuel to construct a 2-inch water line across National Fuel's right-of-way, and whereas National Fuel has requested an encroachment agreement be entered into with the town of Lancaster due to the water line crossing National Fuel's right-of-way, and whereas construction of said water line has been completed with the appropriate issuance on file, and National Fuel has been provided as-built drawings. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby authorizes the town supervisor, Robert Leary, to execute the encroachment agreement with National Fuel Gas Supply Corporation located on Main Street in Williamsville, New York. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 7, whereas Jeffrey Palumbo submitted an application on behalf of 6699 Transit Road LLC for a special use permit for a collision repair shop located at 6699 Transit Road, SBL number 82.03-1-54.4 in the town of Lancaster, New York. And whereas Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14 administration and enforcement, Section 400-78 special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires that the town board conduct a public hearing before the issuance of a special use permit for a use as proposed. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Section 400-78 of the zoning code of the town of Lancaster, a public hearing on the proposed special use permit for a collision repair shop located at 6699 Transit Road in the town of Lancaster will be held at Town Hall on the second day of December 2024 at 7:05 p.m. local time, and that notice of said time and place of such hearing be published in the official newspaper of general circulation in said town and be posted on the town bulletin board, and that a copy of such notice of hearing be referred to the Erie County Department of Planning pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 8, be it resolved that Diane Terranova be and is hereby appointed minority business officer for the town of Lancaster effective November 18th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? And I just want to thank Diane for taking on this duty and, you know, along with all her other duties. Thank you very much. Okay. We'll get through the vote first. On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Schroeder, number 9, please.
Thank you. And previous resolution, again, thank you, Diane. It certainly is going to help us with grants.
Thank you.
And much appreciated. I move resolution, thank you, Mr. Supervisor, I move resolution number 9. Whereas Section 1660A18 Vehicle and Traffic Law of the State of New York authorizes the town to restrict or limit the stopping, standing, or parking of vehicles on roadways within the town except state highways, and whereas on November 5th, 2024, Town of Lancaster Chief of Police William Gummo has informed the Lancaster Town Board of the need, in the interest of public safety, to add temporary no parking signs in the town of Lancaster for the Stony Brook Legendary Lights event running from November 28th, 2024 through January 1st, 2025 from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the following areas: Stony Brook Drive, odd side of the street; Kellyanne Drive, odd side of the street in the cul-de-sac; Whitestone Lane, odd side of the street and in the cul-de-sac; Westbury Lane, even side of the street; Stonehenge Drive, odd side of the street; Cedarbrook Drive, even side of the street; Quail Run, odd side of the street and cul-de-sac; Hunters Drive, even side of the street. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster deems it in the public interest to add temporary no parking signs on the above-mentioned streets in the Town of Lancaster for the Stony Brook Legendary Lights event running from November 28th, 2024 through January 1st, 2025 from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m.
And do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the
I-
roll?
I was just going to ask a question, if I could, of
Okay.
our highway superintendent, quick. Do we have enough no parking signs? Perfect, thank you.
And I'd just like to add Dawn was very helpful with stickers being placed on the signs themselves that state the times, about 5 to 10, for the no parking. We didn't really want to go out and have to buy all new parking signs, so thank you, Dawn, for doing that for us.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
And on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 10. But thank you to everybody involved in that. That's great. Another worthy cause out there. Okay. Whereas DGM Contracting Incorporated, 7174 Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. The company awarded the contract for the Brunk Road and Siebert Road Water Main Replacement Project, contract number TLN-12, has submitted change order number 1 to increase the amount by $165,873.29 to the town board for their approval based on the description previously provided to the town board. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves change order number 1 from DGM Contracting Incorporated with respect to the outline description provided to the town board. Description of change order number 1, add mill and asphalt top for Bowen Road, add mill and asphalt top for Siebert Road, adjust the final contract amount to reflect those quantities actually completed for each bid item. Change order number 1, the original contract sum, $2,050,860. Contract sum will be increased by the change order, $165,873.29. New contract sum will be $2,216,733.29. Be it further resolved that the supervisor be and is hereby authorized to execute this change order on behalf of the town of Lancaster. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Burkhardt, number 11, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I offer Resolution 11 for adoption. Whereas John Pilato, Highway Superintendent of the Town of Lancaster, by letter dated November 8, 2024, has requested authorization for the Deputy Highway Superintendent to attend the 2025 New York State Association of Towns Training and Annual Meeting in New York from February 16th through the 19th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that Michelle Barbaro, Deputy Highway Superintendent of the Town of Lancaster Highway Department, is hereby authorized to attend the 2025 AOT Annual Meeting in New York from February 16th through the 19th. Be it further resolved that the total cost of attendance at the above-mentioned training course is hereby authorized in an amount not to exceed $2,100 per person for actual and necessary expenses, including the cost of registration, lodging, travel, cab fares, and meal expenses for 4 days on the specified dates of training. And be it further resolved that all requests for reimbursement must be presented in the form of original itemized receipts for actual and necessary expenses upon submission of proper documentation to the Director of Administration and Finance of the Town of Lancaster.
And do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 12, whereas the town board has previously duly advertised for bids for a prefabricated half-through truss pedestrian bridge, and whereas 2 bids were received, opened, and reviewed on November 7th, 2024 at 10 a.m., and whereas Edward Schiller, P.E., the town's consulting engineer, by letter dated November 11, 2024, has recommended awarding the bid to Contact Engineered Solutions, LLC, being the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $48,114. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby awards the bid for the prefabricated half-through truss pedestrian bridge to Contact Engineered Solutions, LLC, an amount not to exceed $48,114, being the lowest responsible bidder in conformance with the specifications on file and the office of William Shutt and Associates, and be it further resolved that the expense will be paid for from the 2024 bond issue capital project 90235. Be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute the contract upon receipt and approval of the required documents and insurance certificates by the town attorney's office. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley.
Yes.
Supervisor Leary.
Yes. Resolution number 13, whereas on January 16, 2024, the Town Board of Lancaster approved local law number 2 of 2024, establishing a one-year moratorium on applications, approvals, and construction of commercial residential development, and whereas Section 4 of the local law states that the term of the moratorium may be extended if necessary by approval of the town board, and whereas a 3-month extension is required on the moratorium to fully review draft code, zoning, map changes, the comprehensive plan, hold public hearings on new local laws, and allow adequate time for seeker review for all involved agencies. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board approves the 3-month extension on the moratorium until March 31st, 2025, in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the town of Lancaster and to maintain the status quo as to certain commercial residential development in the town. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Excuse me. Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley.
Yes.
Supervisor Leary.
Yes. Resolution number 14, whereas the town of Lancaster intends to apply for a grant through the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services under the Burn State Crisis Intervention Program for the creation and/or implementation of extreme risk protection order programs called the ERPO, State Crisis Intervention Court Proceedings, prevention programming related to mental health and behavioral health, and related gun violence prevention and reduction programs initiatives. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lancaster Town Board hereby authorizes and directs J. O'Connell and Associates Incorporated, the town's grant consultant, to complete and submit the necessary application forms, etc., to the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services for the purpose of securing this grant. Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley.
Yes.
Supervisor Leary.
Yes. Councilmember Schroeder, number 15, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 15, whereas Article 12 of the Erie County Charter has established a division of youth within the Erie County Department of Social Services, and whereas the Town of Lancaster Youth Bureau has submitted to Erie County Department of Social Services an application for a youth program to advance the moral, physical, mental, and social well-being of the youth of the Town of Lancaster, and whereas the Erie County Department of Social Services desires to assist the Town of Lancaster Youth Bureau on its youth program and to secure reimbursable funds, therefore, from the state of New York, now therefore be it resolved that the Lancaster Town Board hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute this agreement, which will cover the period retroactive to October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, on behalf of the Town of Lancaster, and do all things necessary to effectuate the intent of this resolution pending the receipt of all required certificates of insurance by the town attorney for review and approval.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley.
Yes.
Supervisor Leary.
Yes. Resolution number 16. You have.
Resolution says shorter, but it's got Larry.
It's yours, right?
Is it? I guess.
Yes.
It's another, yeah, this should be,
Grants.
this should be Schroeder. Okay. Councilmember Schroeder, number 16, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 16, whereas the Town of Lancaster intends to apply for a Companion Animals Capital Projects grant through the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets for the costs of capital projects including construction, renovation, rehabilitation, installation, acquisition, or expansion of buildings, equipment, or facilities necessary for secure containment, health, and adequate care of sheltered dogs and cats. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lancaster Town Board hereby authorizes and directs J. O'Connell and Associates, Inc., the town's grant consultant, to complete and submit the necessary application forms, etc., to the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets for the purpose of securing this grant.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ooh, that was a tie. On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley.
Yes.
Supervisor Leary.
Yes. Resolution number 17, Whereas H. Christopher Strang, applicant, submitted an application for the proposed 33,150 square foot metal-sided warehouse addition with extended fire apparatus, access lane, and private hydrant on a 9.2 acre parcel located at 3979 Walden Avenue, SBL number 105.00-1-12.22 and 105.00-1-29 in the town of Lancaster as prepared by Trado Engineers, containing a site plan drawings with numerous numbers on there, received September 26, 2024 by the town of Lancaster Building Department, and whereas the Department of State of the State of New York made a determination on July 10, 2024, that the application for a variance from 19 New York CRR Part 1221, Section 507.3B, and was hereby granted with conditions by Western Region Rochester Board of Review, and whereas the town acting as lead agency duly considered the request for the project, including the recommendation of the town of Lancaster Planning Board in conformance with Seeker State Environmental Quality Review regulations, and October 7, 2024, the town board issued a negative declaration, and whereas the planning board recommended to the town board on October 16, 2024, the approval of the site plan is submitted and in conformance with the town building and zoning codes. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves the site plan submitted by H. Christopher Strang, the applicant, 3979 Walden Avenue, done by Trado Engineers, containing drawings, numerous numbers, and submitted and revised 9/18/2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Studley, number 18 and 20, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Board. I offer resolutions number 18 and 20 for adoption. Whereas by email dated November 12th, 2024, Director of Administration and Finance, Nicholas Swanson, has requested the recommended adjustments to the town's 2024 adopted budget. Now therefore be it resolved that the following budget amendments be and are hereby approved in the 2024 adopted budget of the town of Lancaster. So it's under highway. There is a transfer total of $185,230.89 from the American Rescue Plan Act, that is $52,398.41, and then the highway unassigned fund balance is $132,832.48, and that's going to go to passenger vehicles.
Okay, do we have a second? Second. On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes.
I now offer resolution number 20, whereas pursuant to Chapter 350 Vehicles and Traffic, Section 350-14 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, the parking of vehicles is prohibited on all highways within the Town of Lancaster between 1 a.m. and 7 a.m. from November 15th to March 15th. And whereas by email dated Wednesday, November 13th, 2024, Lancaster Chief of Police William Gummo has requested that the winter parking ban be delayed until December 1st, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the parking of vehicles is prohibited on all highways within the town of Lancaster between 1 a.m. and 7 a.m. from December 1st, 2024 to March 15th, 2025.
And do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. And just give me a minute.
Oh, this is different. One is the,
Different place?
one is,
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. Resolution number 21. Whereas William Shedd Associates, P.C., the Town of Lancaster's consulting engineer by letter dated November 11, 2024, has requested that the town board authorize an invitation to secure quotes for the construction of a prefabricated half-through truss pedestrian bridge within the town of Lancaster, and whereas the estimated cost of placing the new pedestrian bridge is estimated at $29,000, with the town supplying the bridge via separate bid, and whereas the town board has given due review and consideration to the request for quotes for for the construction of a prefabricated half-through truss pedestrian bridge within the town of Lancaster and deems it in the public interest to request quotes in conformance with General Municipal Law, Section 103 of the State of New York. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby invites quotes for the construction of a prefabricated half-through truss pedestrian bridge within the town of Lancaster, said quotes to be in conformance with the plans and specifications which are available for inspection at William Shutt and Associates, P.C., 37 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, beginning at 9 a.m. local time on November 19, 2024. And be it further resolved that quotes are to be received at William Shutt and Associates at 37 Central Avenue no later than 10 a.m. local time on December 5th, 2024. Wait, have a second.
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 22. Okay. All right, resolution number 22. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has considered and previewed the 2025 budget estimates and assessments rolls for special districts, spreading the cost on a benefit basis, and whereas a public hearing on said 2025 special districts budget estimates and assessment roll was held by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster on October 21st, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the 2025 budget estimates and assessment roll for special districts, spreading cost on a benefit basis, is filed with the town clerk on September 30th, 2024, B, and is hereby adopted as the final 2025 budget for the special districts for the town of Lancaster for the fiscal year beginning on January 1st, 2025, and ending December 31st, 2025, and that such budget as adopted and summarized below be entered in detail in the minutes of the proceedings of this town board. Appropriations, Refuge District, $2,866,760. Lighting District, $350,510. Fire District, $3,933,355. Water District, $1,481,481. Subtotal for the districts is $8,632,105. And the amount to be raised by taxation for all those is $8,034,243. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 23, whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has reviewed the 2025 preliminary town budget, and whereas a public hearing on said 2025 preliminary town budget was held by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster on October 21st, 2024, now therefore be it resolved as follows. Section 1, that the 2025 preliminary budget as modified is shown on Schedule A, B, and is hereby adopted as the 2025 final budget of the Town of Lancaster for the fiscal year beginning on January 1, 2025, and ending December 31, 2025, and that such budget as adopted be entered in detail in the minutes of the proceedings of this town board. And then we have the general fund appropriations, $11,788,000, and then we got the funds for the town outside villages, police fund, highway fund, town outside villages, how all the funds are broken up, miscellaneous special revenue tree planting fee, miscellaneous special revenue police asset forfeitures, miscellaneous special revenue recreation filing fee, miscellaneous special revenue memorial garden fund, coming to a subtotal general budget of $33,543,507, and the amount to be raised by taxation is $18,385,632. Other items, delinquent water bills, Erie County Water Authority, $1,003, and that is a grand total for that. Section 2, that the town clerk of the Town of Lancaster prepare and certify in duplicate copies of said annual 2025 budget as adopted by the town board together with the assessment rolls for benefits, improvements, if any, adopted pursuant to Section 202A of the town law, and deliver one copy thereof to the supervisor. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Okay, that's our budget that we just passed. Nice job, Mr. Swanson, on getting that all put together for us, and thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna, right now, I'm going to, yeah. I'm with it. I'm good. Okay. All right. I am requesting a suspension of the necessary rules for immediate consideration of the following resolution. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
And on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Okay, whereas Bruce Stutz, Parks Crew Chief for the town of Lancaster, by letters dated November 8th and November 12th, 2024, has recommended the appointment of the following individuals to the position of part-time permanent employees in the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department for the fall recreation programs for the fall-winter season of 2024-2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the following individuals are hereby appointed to the following part-time permanent position in the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department for the fall recreation programs for the fall-winter season of 2024-2025, and that these being part-time positions working not more than 19.5 hours per week, provide no health insurance, sick days, vacations, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time employees, and they include Sameth Gary, Gianluigi Folk, oh man, I'm killing these names, I apologize.
Gianluca
Thank you.
Volchinides.
Okay, Lucas Jemiak,
Jimiak.
thank you. Gavin Candifer, Joshua Candifer, Alexis Adrobina, Nicholas Smith, I got that one, Hannah Wozniak, and be it further resolved that these appointments shall take effect upon the candidates' completion of the state-required new hire training programs and town policy acknowledgements, and the supervisor of the town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. And that concludes our suspended and our pre-filed resolutions for this evening. We're going to do the presentation of communications by the town clerk. Ready?
You bet.
Okay, 611, received and filed. 612, received and filed. 613, Planning and Zoning Committee. 614, resolution tonight. 615, to Code Enforcement. 616 to Code Enforcement. 617 to Code Enforcement. 618 to Town Board for consideration. 619, Town Board. 620, Planning and Zoning Committee. 621, Planning and Zoning. 622, resolution
Tonight.
okay. 623, Planning and Zoning Committee. 624, to the Town Board for consideration. 625, for resolution. 626, resolution tonight. 627, to the LIDA Board. 628, to the LIDA Board. 629, resolution tonight. 630, received and filed. 631, Planning and Zoning Committee. 632, Code Enforcement. 633, Code Enforcement. 634, Planning and Zoning. 635, Planning and Zoning. 636, for resolution. 637, for resolution. 638, received and filed. 639, to the Town Board for consideration. 640, Planning and Zoning Committee. 641, resolution tonight. 642, resolution tonight. And 643, Director of Finance. It's received and filed. Okay, so that concludes our communications. Okay, and at this point in time, we come to the point in the meeting where any individual wishing to address the town board on any subject may do so. The town board will hear the concerns of persons desiring to address the town board on any town of Lancaster subject for a total period of 30 minutes. Procedures: raise your hand and be recognized by the supervisor. Give your name and address to the town clerk once you're called and come up here. Speak directly to the town board members, not the audience, using the microphone provided. And speak once for 5 minutes or less, unless the town board grants a speaker an extension of this time limit. Do we have anybody in our audience tonight who wants to be heard on any subject matter? Sir, sitting in the front here with a white sweater, yes. Come on up. Yes, please come up to the podium, give your name and address, and then you can say what you're here to say.
My name is Pat McGinley. I live at 2 Deepwood Place in Lancaster. And I'm here to ask the town's consideration to increase the income threshold for the senior low-income exemption on property taxes. It's been several years since that threshold was raised. It's now around $37,000. I don't know the exact number. I think it's like $37,500. And the very thing that's causing many of us seniors to break that threshold and no longer to be eligible is the COLA increases that Social Security has given us. Those COLA increases, which are to help us fight inflation, get taken away by the town because now we're bumped above the threshold. So I'm just asking your consideration to raise that threshold from $37,000 to whatever you think is appropriate. Since the last increase, our Social Security, I think we got an 8.7 increase in the years of double-digit inflation back in 2023, then 3.5, then like 2.5. So our Social Security has really gone up 15%. So if you're making $35,000, that 15% is about $5,000. And yet you guys haven't bumped the threshold, and I'm just saying, myself, and I'm sure many other seniors, are now being excluded from that exemption. I just ask for your consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know you left a message in my office. Can you follow up with an email as well?
Sure.
Did you? Yeah.
I did. I didn't know.
Did you send
I'm
it?
not
Okay.
familiar with how the town. I'm not.
Okay. Yeah.
And sure, I'll give you an email, and I won't be too specific, but hopefully you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Did I make myself clear at all?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. That's all. So this is
Yeah,
on behalf of.
I just want to be able to get back to you specifically after we,
Cool.
what we can do.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Go Bills.
Go Bills. Who else want to? Yes, sir, come on up.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Joshua Anna at 24 Mary Rachel Place. That's Mary space Rachel. The reason I'm here tonight is to address the insufficient speed limit signs along Juniper Boulevard between Walden Ave and Pleasant View Drive. This roadway is about 1 mile or 5,280 feet long. Currently on Juniper Boulevard, there are 2 southbound speed limit signs. One is at the intersection of Juniper and Pleasant View Drive on the north end. The other is at the intersection of Juniper Boulevard and Carlisle Street, which is about 1,000 feet from that, which is within the guidance. And then there's 1 northbound sign on the south end of Juniper Boulevard at the intersection of Walden Avenue. The problem is that speeding's a large public safety concern on this road since there's no speed bumps or anything. I know that there have been several complaints into Lancaster Police Department who has taken the actions of putting out the generated signs that notify the speed limit is 30 miles per hour. To me, that just doesn't make a lot of sense because there are not actual speed limit signs there. And I'll reference the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, which is published by the New York State Department of Transportation. I understand that that's a guideline, and ultimately it's up to you all here locally. However, in that Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, Chapter 2B, Section 13, the speed limit signs are referred to as, or also known as R2-1 signs. Line 00M, additional R21 or speed limit signs shall be placed at intervals throughout restrictions longer than 1,100 feet. So roads longer than 1,100 feet need speed limit signs. On the north end, we're already following that with the sequential speed limit sign. But then after that, it says the first intermediate sign with a linear speed limit restriction should be placed at a maximum of 1,100 feet from the first speed limit sign, and then the spacing between subsequent intermediate signs should not exceed the distance produced by bear with me here, multiplying the speed limit in miles per hour by 100. So the speed limit on that road is 30 miles per hour times 100, we have 3,000 feet. Now, from the first speed limit sign on the south end at the intersection of Walden, there is not one at 1,100 feet. There's not one within 3,000 feet after that. So my proposal would be to place one southbound speed limit sign no further than 3,000 feet from the existing Carlisle Street sign, and place two northbound speed limit signs on the intersection of the Newberry Lane and Juniper Boulevard intersections is about 1,000 feet, and then following that, 3,000 feet from there is the intersection of Chicory Lane and Juniper Boulevard. And that's all I have on that. If there were any questions or if I was unclear with anything.
No, that's pretty clear, but you could do me a favor and talk to somebody on our safety committee, if you could hang on a second so we can get a contact number for you as well.
Yeah, that would be
Safety
great.
committee people, who wants to?
Yeah.
Whoever wants to, yeah. Okay,
Thank you so
perfect.
much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else want to address the town board on any matter? Yes, sir.
So, two things. I see there's a moratorium extension coming. I'm just wondering what's been done so far in terms of preparing the code for how you're going to lay out Lancaster in the future, and what are your plans coming up in the future here?
Okay, what we did is, we got to a point where we changed the zoning around. We have a proposed zoning change that's coming up, and we have other changes. That's going to be a big part of the whole thing, okay? So we've got that proposed, but we got to have a public hearing, and we got to make sure everybody sees it and has input on it. So it is prepared. It was sent to me today. Did it go to the rest of the board yet? I showed somebody, no, that was in my office. Can we send it to the rest of the board? Was it sent to the rest of the
No,
board?
no, it's just
Okay,
indicating-
I'll send it to the rest of the board so they can take a look at it, and then we're going to have to talk about that. We're going to have the public hearing. We're going to have to make the changes in there, and then rewriting those changes that are in there. So we looked at, one of our biggest problems is multifamily, in my opinion, multifamily, multi-use. So we changed some of the things to be perhaps just multifamily or just multi-use.
Okay.
Okay, so it took it a long period of time to get to this point. We looked at all the parks, we looked at all the safety concerns, we looked at everything, that has to do with the moratorium, streets, what's going to go on out there. We're going to try to get some changes in there, and I think we can do it by some of the things we already have, but if we need to, we'll change some things, like if road's in bad shape or the water lines are in bad shape, somebody wants to put a development in a particular area, we're going to put it on the developer to have to make those changes. Okay, if the roads are in rough shape, there's, too much traffic on there, perhaps a right turn is needed or something, we're going to put that on the developer to have to pay for that. So we've been looking at all this stuff right along. We talked about, doing stuff with the parks, got a pretty good feel for it. The referendum at the choice of the people went down to defeat, so we're going to have to work on just making things better at our existing facilities, and we are in the process of doing that. And, again, we're also going to require that as a development comes in, that they put some green space like right there in the development. That's what we're looking at. All this still needs to be voted on. Again, we want to have the public hearings, then the board has the opportunity to take a look at it and vote on this. So again, there's still some stuff to be done. It just takes, legally, it just takes additional time. So we're pretty much to the point where we need to be. Now we just need to do the changes. And change our comprehensive master plan as well. So these things will be incorporated into the comprehensive master plan. So that's why we need the additional months to get that done.
And I imagine you've been working with Tom Fowler about finding what the legal mechanism would look like in order to make developers have to, comply with your requirements.
Yeah, our new attorney is Jennifer Strong.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then I imagine you've been communicating with Ms. Strong.
Yeah. We've been working with Jennifer Strong on, yes, what we got to do legally. And again, it was her recommendation to have the 3 months. Unfortunately, we have the deputy attorney usually sits in here. I don't know when the last time you was here. We're here, but unfortunately, she's ill tonight. Like I was ill at the last town board meeting. A lot of stuff going around, so we had nobody in here tonight. But yeah, Jennifer, not me, not anymore. I'm good. But Jennifer Strong is all over this, so she's doing a very good job on it.
And do you think it'll be, I know you've had a lot of housekeeping to do this year from what it sounds like, so will 3 months, 3 additional months, will that be enough time by the time you reach that point?
Yeah, because I think we're at that point right now where we know what the changes are we want to make, so we just have not just have to, but we have to have the public hearing, and then we gotta, make sure the board is good with whatever the changes are or the recommendations in there as well, and get it all put together and, make sure we get things out there in the public and do our changes, and then everybody's gonna know exactly what it is we expect, what's coming, what we've changed zoning-wise, and put out a new zoning map.
Okay, perfect. And then just the other question was, I saw you have a pedestrian bridge coming up. Where is that located at? Maybe I didn't overlook it.
Enchanted Forest South.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the one people have been talking about for quite a while. It took a while to get the paperwork to this point, and yes, so we're finally at the point where we're gonna get it done, basically, so.
Okay, perfect. And I might follow up tonight with a question or two on the budget, just for clarity from your end, sir, but that's all I have. Thank you.
Certainly, thank you very much. Does anybody else want to address the town board? Yes, sir.
Thanks for asking that question about moratorium. I didn't have a question. Thank you. You are. Thank you again, Mr. Larry, Supervisor. Question about the moratorium, the wildlife affected. I know the subdivisions, the massive all over the place. What's happening within, Paul Osbis Jr.? I live in the footprint of Pat, somebody like that. With the wildlife affected, we're getting more and more, as you know, I live down Central by Central. We're getting more and more deer inside the village. Last Christmas, going to my son's house with family, we had, I think, 4 deer walking down Central Avenue by the Lancaster School District office. And then seen a deer up here, seen a friend of ours that lives over here had a deer in the roundabout eating, so we're getting a really large influx of that type of deer. Which brings up, I remember Amherst years ago had an issue with the deer population, so they started getting the police department trained and started, I'm not saying eliminate, I don't like that word, but there's got to be a time and place where that, I was hoping the moratorium will bring that forward too about the deer population. As we grow and grow and grow, what will happen with this major issue right now? I think that should be looked into too. I don't know if it's a moratorium issue or it could be looked under that.
I believe it was discussed at some of our moratorium meetings to take a look at that as well. Again, I don't remember the specific results on that, but that would incorporate working with the police department as well to see what the statistics are. There's a lot more, hits with deer. And, but again, yeah, that's something that's got to be taken into account with any development that goes in. How are they disrupting the wildlife in that area? So I think that's part of the secret process already, but again, you're right, maybe it needs to be stronger. Okay. And I don't remember specifically what was the outcome of that, if anybody else does, but yeah, thank you. Thank you for reminding us.
One quick question with the tenant agreement. I know we can't ask the financial guru, like I call Nick. Maybe I can ask him, or you can respond to this. A couple years ago, 4 of the financial underneath the last supervisor, 4 of them resigned at the same exact time. But when I look at the tenant agreement, I'm looking at the detail, I see underneath Nick's office where there was 4, I believe, is there, I don't know what to do here. Is there one Nick? There's only you, correct? On your staff?
Yes, me and a part-time accounting clerk.
Okay. Is that, for him doing all this work, that's impressive. And thank you, Supervisor Leary, for finding somebody like this. It's really impressive when you think about what was left at your table. I mean, I read that, that's really, really bad. And to find somebody like Nick was outstanding.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. We're very lucky to have him.
So
Very happy
I'm
to have
hoping
him.
his staff could be increased too.
Thank you very much. We'll take a look at that. Does anybody else want to address the town board on any matter at this point? Okay, seeing no hands raised, I will call for a motion to close this town board meeting. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, and on the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, good night,
Meeting
everybody.
adjourned.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much for coming.
Bruce, play ball. Play ball. We got attendance now.